Needless to say, Frieza had no choice but to surrender to the might of Earth's warriors. He did try to run, but Boo used his stretchy arms to stop the Emperor, something Piccolo felt odd about seeing from afar. Once Boo and Vegeta were sure they had the Emperor tied down, Cell, using telepathy, ordered the kids to go and gather the Dragon Balls. They do so while the interrogations start, though by this point Gohan has fallen out of that mysterious form he just unlocked, and Vegeta was clearly fatigued. Cell too was tired, but he could hide this fact via regeneration. While Boo would normally heal everyone, he had to focus on holding the Emperor down, something that made Cell feel on edge. This guy had managed to fix his stamina problem and do the impossible, catch up to and possibly surpass Boo. The problem this presented was that Frieza had no interest in talking, nor could anyone really injure him, but that's when Cell had an idea. He needed to know if Soma had truly been taken out by those androids, and why they seemed fixated on kidnapping his daughter. This was part of the android's past he wished to forget, but he'd do anything to protect his daughter, something the others would have to understand. Gohan, Vegeta, you may want to look away from this. Kaioken! Once powered up, Cell extended his tail, thrusting it forward and stabbing right into the Emperor's bicep, quickly starting to liquidate his muscle, then bone. Ugh, what is this? How's an insect like you capable of? Cell, still in Kaioken, smacked the hiffle out of Frieza, before kneeling so they were face to face. You came after my children, Frieza, and this? Cell grabbed onto the Emperor's shriveled arm. This is only the start of what I'll do to you. The android then promptly tore the arm off and crushed it, letting the dust float off with the wind. Now, this got the Emperor talking, though he still offered little information. He mentioned that Gero had been creating an experimental super soldier, though Frieza forbade him from using any Iceling DNA, and kept a close eye on those creations. The 5 androids that led the assault on Earth were made from one of Frieza's top soldiers, though he didn't know how one man could turn into 5, which makes him suspect Gero has secrets even he was unaware of. Lastly, as for Soma, Frieza says that he never had any goals regarding the gods, simply wanting to rule the universe as a mortal, which the others don't believe. When asked where Gero was located, Frieza decides to try and bargain. If I tell you, I expect to be allowed to leave this planet alive. When Vegeta scoffs at such a request, the Emperor presses the issue. I've attempted to fight you Earthlings countless times, all ending in failure. And with only one arm remaining, what trouble could I cause that you couldn't easily fix? The Emperor had a smile on his face, expecting this to work, both Vegeta and Gohan having no intentions of letting this slide. Cell, however, agrees to let Frieza leave. Of course, the Saiyans try to fight him on this, but Boo sides with the android, and that's enough to give them pause. Fine, we can let him live, but if Frieza turns good, he better not stay on Earth, or I'll evict him personally. With that said, the group learns that Gero had been on a strange planet made of metal, one on the other side of the galaxy. There had been a powerful general there, and legions of robots, but they were all fodder compared to Frieza himself. Once the populace had been exterminated, Gero found a secret lab, one which housed technology on par with his own. There he began working on what he called the ultimate weapon. Once Boo got the coordinates memorized, Cell powered up into Kaioken and struck the Emperor once more. This time, in the chest. Frieza let out a terrible scream as Cell turned him into a shriveled husk before unceremoniously blasting it away. The others were shocked, to say the least. Even Boo, who had done his fair share of atrocious activities. At that moment, the Earth returned to normal, as the kids had successfully summoned Shenron. Cell then told the kids to wish the Kai back to life, hoping it would work on Soma as well. Once the wish is made, the android turns his focus to the realm of the gods, and can now tell that there are 5 life forms there. This is strange, as that planet should only house Soma, Elder Kai, Kibito, and Shin. Thinking this may be a residual android that remained on said world to guard it, Cell immediately teleports over. There, standing between the various Kaioshin and Soma, was a yellow fellow, one which looked oddly like Zamasu, albeit with different attire and a pair of glasses. The fact that Elder Kai was celebrating this newcomer only served to confuse Cell even more, who finally asked what was going on.
Father, so you're the one responsible for wishing us back. I thank you.
Soma hung his head low, likely having regrets about falling to these droids. Of course, when I learned what happened, well, next time I'll stop them for good. Cell stepped closer to his son, awkwardly going in for a hug, which Soma responded to with a handshake. This made Cell quickly look for a way out of this situation. Tell me who this guy is. What's his deal? Him? Well, he's the new Kai that's linked to our latest god of destruction, Elder Kai butt in, whose gaze never left his crystal ball. Wait, new God? Don't tell me. Yep, it's me, Goku. Everyone suddenly jumped up, as not only had the air around them gone cold, but the power on display was immense. Cell turned around to see an injured Goku in godly attire, with Whis by his side, confirming that this was indeed real. The android had a million questions on his mind, especially why Goku would do such a thing. Well, the Saiyan admits it wasn't exactly his choice, but when visiting the GP, everyone thought it insane that there was no god of destruction currently residing within Universe 7. When the tournament was pitched to Zeno, he wanted Goku to be the next God, since that meant his team would surely be made of powerful fighters. With the Grand Priest breathing down his neck, along with the Omni King's request, Goku couldn't help but comply. Although, he did make it so that he got to fight the other GODs in an exhibition match. The Saiyan was pumped up after seeing how strong those guys were, even if none of them were quite up to Beerus' level. Anyways, he was traveling around to tell everyone that they had 10 days to gather participants and train for the Tournament of Power. Before Cell could ask anything else, Goku teleported off to Earth. Wait, that's the guy I'm supposed to be paired up with? He's way too nonchalant about this. The new Kai seemed to be having a mental breakdown, but Cell didn't pay much attention to him. This was not the time to be having a tournament, and if Goku knew about what happened, surely he'd agree. There was something off here, which is exactly what Vegeta was saying back on Earth. Many of the Zfighters, including the kids, had no idea why Goku would sign them up for a tournament when Frieza just attacked and Gero was lurking somewhere out in space. The GODs seemed to give Whis a worried glance before putting a hand on the back of his head and rubbing it nervously. There, in front of the Zfighters, he tells them the whole truth. Universe 7 could be erased if they don't win. Now, this stirs up even more controversy on top of an already stressful situation. Vegeta immediately blames Kakarot for getting them into this mess, while Piccolo and Gohan attempt to deal with the idea of being erased. Goku tries to calm everyone down, but the kids aren't helping, especially Mei, who just had a frightening experience only an hour ago. Suddenly, Boo conjures up several copies of himself, one to calm Mei, one to hold Vegeta back, and a couple to calm other members of the crew. His original self steps up in front of Goku.
Infighting won't help at a time like this. What we need to do now is what we've been doing since Frieza first attacked. We must train to take on strong opponents. Nothing's changed, and once the tournament is over, I'm sure Bulma will have a spaceship that can take us right to Gero.
This seemed to slightly calm the crowd, but even so, there was quite a bit of tension. Boo eased this by asking Gohan to become the team captain and start thinking of who should participate. The others thought it should be Boo, but he rejects the role, mostly to give Gohan and Piccolo something to focus on. Vegeta calmed down and states he'll be using the time chamber for the next 24 hours. That's when Trunks asked to join, though the hybrid is shot down, as if he went in there, he'd lose a whole year of his childhood, something Vegeta wanted his boy to cherish. But there is someone else who'd want to go in, someone that was already far below the prince, but still willing to put in work. And that was none other than our boy Pui Pui. The prince doesn't see much use in training with a weakling, but the Zune tells him that he's Cell's rival and wants nothing other than to surpass him, something that resonates with Vegeta.
If you can keep that spirit up for a whole year, then you can join me. But don't think for a second I'll go easy on you.
Pui Pui promises he'll surprise the prince, and thus the two fly off. And yes, I'll be accepting Vegeta x Pui Pui art now. Anyways, Gohan can pretty safely assume that he'll have Boo, Cell, himself, Piccolo, Vegeta, and Pui Pui there to participate. Zongia, who was still pretty banged up from the battle, flew over, saying that she'd participate as well. 18 and Krillin also come in and offered their help, though the android admitted her husband should train for the occasion. This was perfect, as they only needed one more fighter, and that's when Trunks and Goten offered their services, even if they were clearly shaken by the prospect of being erased. Vegeta wasn't around to protest, and Goku had no qualms with it, but Gohan stepped in, saying the boys were too young and should stay behind to protect the others.
Oh come on, we're both way stronger than Krillin and we can go Super Saiyan 2 now. You fought Cell when you were our age, Gohan. We even fought Janemba when we were like 8 years old.
The older hybrid didn't have much of an answer for this. What they said was true, but they were still children, and he knew if Pan wanted to fight and was their age, he'd absolutely say no. He searched for any way to get the two off his back, but right when he thought about going to their mothers, Cell teleported in. Oh, come on, Gohan. Let the kids fight. It'll be just like the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 tournament, which means no killing, and they can give up if anything drastic happens. Right, Goku? Yeah, they'll be fine, Gohan. I mean, look at them. They're way stronger than you were at that age. Goku picks at his cheek nervously, praying that his wife never finds out about this. The team captain sighs and then gives in, but this presents a problem, as now there were too many participants. Well, Goten suggests they form Gotenks and Lazulia, which would increase their power and open up another slot for his best friend May. Everyone thinks this plan could work, though perhaps a more permanent fusion would be better, since they had no idea how Zeno would react if he found out. Who suggests they use Potara fusion, which the four fighters agree to, Goten and Trunks hoping they can keep the same name since Gotenks was incredibly marketable. While the others prepared for the tournament, Cell floated over towards his daughter, who was still clearly shaken from her time with Naka, something he wasn't sure how to handle. Sure, he'd been defeated by Gohan before and had many brushes with death since then, but May wasn't the same. She enjoyed fighting, but had never done so completely alone, nor against a fighter that outclassed her by that much of a margin. Cell put a hand on his daughter's forehead, reading her mind and finding that fight replaying over and over in her head. He knelt down, hugging his daughter, to which he received a nearly neck-breaking hug in return.
You know, May, you never have to fight again if you don't want to. You have so much potential. I see it in you. Whatever you choose to do, I'll be there to cheer you on. Now, please, loosen your grip a little.
Cell further tried to comfort his daughter with some head pats. May sniffled against his chest before gripping onto his shoulders and looking up at him. I want to fight, though. I can't. And that's okay. You take your time. Papa will take care of this tournament. Cell looked over towards Boo, asking the Majin if he had any suggestions for a 10th member. Well, there was Chief Provolo, but he was likely only as strong as Krillin, and at that point they might as well recruit Tien. The two have a good laugh over that concept before getting serious, and wondering just who could possibly join their crew. Out on a remote planet, a figure cloaked in black walked into a rather unassuming cantina. His large frame drew looks from many of the patrons there, and his hidden face didn't help with the suspicion. But the man was on a mission, walking past the bar and towards a door all the way at the back of the room. There stood a hulking pig-like individual guarding the door, asking him for a password. Once let inside, the man sat at a round table, where a few other individuals were already seated. There was someone who looked like a human, but had green hair and a red eye. Then there was a smooth, rather fit individual who had 3 red gems on his head. Finally, a small pink man wearing strange armor sat across from the cloaked figure. Said individual finally removed his cloak, revealing Kogu, the signature M still painted across his forehead, something the other bounty hunters recognized.
Alright, now that you're all here,
A voice echoed from across the room, where a man had just entered.
I can debrief you on the man making waves across the universe. The bloke betrayed Frieza, and many think he'll be the next emperor of the universe. So you better bring your A game. This is a triple S ranked mission. Your target, Dr. Gero.
But that's where we'll be leaving things off for right now. If you enjoyed this video, then maybe you'd like a story all about Emperor Pilaf and his buddies turning good. But even if you don't check that out, thank you for getting to this part of the video. You guys have a good day or night wherever you are. That's it for now. Bye bye!